when someone inherits money, when his trust terminated and he received a lot of money, he had to mourn the loss of his life as he had known it up until that time before he could move on. He had to recognize it and go through that mourning process. And most people don't think that that would exist for them. They think, oh, $18 million, woohoo, I'm there.
For you.
And,
yeah.
And it's just, they don't give themselves permission to mourn the loss of their life as they had known it up until that point. And it's a big change.
Hello, amazing humans, and welcome to episode number 279 of the Game On Girlfriend podcast. So what do you think about rich people, huh? Are they a bunch of jerks? I know. Does it scare you, the idea of making money because you think you'll become an asshat? Like, tell the truth about this. This is okay. Because in today's podcast episode, you are going to hear about the mindset of heirs of incredible wealth. Now, you might be thinking, Sarah, that has nothing to do with me. I'm going to tell you it really does. And at a moment in our society, when we have people who are afraid to make money, we have people who hate people who make money, we have people who have money who are afraid, we have people who don't want to make money because they think it'll turn them into a jerk. There is so much going on here about our relationship as humans to money that we are leaving unexamined. And in today's podcast episode, we blow that wide open and we talk about how humans with money and humans without money are almost identical, not in their lives, I know, not in the day-to-day, but in how they view themselves, which is unbelievably fascinating. Today's guest is Myra Salzer. She's an advocate for people who've received significant inheritance. And over the decades, since she founded the Wealth Conservancy, she has worked with inheritors who have collectively inherited billions. The firm's services combine wealth and life coaching and financial planning for people who've inherited enough that paid work doesn't impact their financial well-being. And again, if you are thinking this doesn't apply to me, it does, especially if you are trying to grow your business and earn more money. What you're going to hear in today's conversations are the exact blocks you might be experiencing as you are looking to grow your ability to earn more money. This is so important because I work with people every day, who say, oh my God, I really want that lifestyle. I want more money. I want to make my business really successful. But there's this belief that they're not going to know how to handle the money, that the money is somehow going to affect them negatively, that other people won't want to be around them, that other people won't like them. And I want you to understand how shared those fears are and how unrealistic they actually are when it comes to your day-to-day life. So if you're looking to grow your relationship to money, this is the episode you're going to want to come back to more than once. So pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Myra, welcome to the Game On Girlfriend podcast. I am, kind of like really excited and a little bit nervous about finding out all of the awesome information you're about to share. Welcome.
Thank you. Fun to be here.
Good. So listen, you are experienced, you're smart. I mean, your bio is astounding. You do all these incredible things. But oh my gosh, out of all the things that Myra could have done on planet Earth, why is this what you've chosen to do with your life?
I'm a person who doesn't go with the flow. And this is a group of people, the people I work with, who are people who've inherited a great deal of money, don't have an advocate. And I know you're probably thinking, oh, yeah, right. Well, I wish I had their problem. But it's really important to recognize that these are people who have been born into a situation that they had no control over. And many times they can't even disinherit. They can't be disinherited. They are stuck with their circumstance and their responsibilities. And they don't get any support. They don't get training. There's no manual on how to manage $50 million or get shares of a family operating business or run a family foundation. And yet they're expected to be happy and they're expected to be fully understanding of tax law and estate tax law. and how to give to their kids and how to have a fair prenuptial agreement and
Mm,
all of these things that most people don't even consider
right.
is what's required of them.
Yeah.
And we advocate for them, we work with them, we teach, we coach, and they get to a point where they can manage
Mm.
what they want to manage and delegate what they don't.
Oh my God, I got it. You know, you just brought up a lot of stuff. I think most people just, it doesn't occur, right? You read the magazine outtake, right? Or like the headline of like so and so inherits $75 million. You're like, son of a gun, that's a lot of money. But what is happening to the human being behind that? And I think that is such an interesting conversation to have because, as you know, the women I work with, right, there's this constant struggle, this fight against the idea that if you have money, you must somehow be bad. There's something inherently greasy about you or something like that. Is this something that you've seen, these heirs deal with that? Like, am I a bad person? Do people think I'm bad? Like, what do people think of me? Is there that kind of insecurity going on for them as well?
Totally. I call it their net worth and self-worth are completely misaligned. And they're afraid of judgments.
Uh-huh.
Oftentimes they hide their wealth. They pretend to be a regular person.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be mortified if someone knew they didn't have student loans or they could afford to buy any car they wanted or go on any trip they wanted. And they just want to fit in.
Mm.
Don't we all?
God, I was just gonna say that. Like, is that not like the basic human desire of like, am I okay? Am I gonna get rejected? And I think, when you were talking about this is a situation someone was born into. It's not their fault. You can look at that on all spectrums of finances, right? Someone who was born into extreme poverty, right? Someone who had the experience I had as a kid, like not understanding what money is. And I think the pattern's the same in that they think they're supposed to know. It doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're born into. You have this weird idea that you're somehow stupid or at fault or completely an idiot and you don't deserve any of this, whether it's good or bad, right? Like, I can't ever know how to do this. It's
Good
too
point.
mysterious. Isn't that
Yeah.
interesting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
It's like we're just not supposed to talk about money, which is why I'm so excited to have you on the show because let's freaking talk about money. Like, oh my gosh. It's like the most important tool we have access to today. And it's so interesting to see no matter which side of the spectrum, everybody feels insecure about what they actually own, what
Totally.
is actually in the bank account. I just think that is fascinating. So we have people who are broke who are pretending to be wealthy, and we have people who are wealthy pretending to be broke.
There you go.
That is just fascinating. Like, whoa. Like, oh my gosh. Human behavior on display, right? Like fascinating.
Totally.
Fascinating. Okay, so let's say we have someone who's just inherited like what we would consider a boatload of money. That's my favorite phrase. Like, there's a boatload of money. Oh my goodness, here it is. What kind of relationship changes do these human beings have when it comes to their wealth, right? Their money that's in this bank? Do they change along the way? Do they start to view things differently? Like, what do you see happens to the human being behind this transition?
It's not like winning the lottery, which is a sudden money event.
Right.
Usually it's a gradual event where they are beneficiary of a trust that some comes, becomes liquid at ages 25, 35, 45, something along those lines, or they have always owned shares of a family operating business
Mm.
that does an IPO, but they can't sell any shares for a limited period of time because of the SEC rules. And so they have time to start to integrate. So
Mm.
it's usually not a sudden money event. However, there's often a sudden money event that they could have prepared for and didn't.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so
And
say
so
more
they're
about
in
that.
denial. And we can get into the stages of inherited wealth, but I'll tell you a story about what was the first person who came into my office that I thought, this is a group of people that need help.
Yeah.
And it was when I was a starving financial planner who would have taken anyone who could fog a mirror and a couple made an appointment to come into my office. And I was like, oh, yes, I'm ready. And I had my blue suit on and I rented the conference room and I was ready.
Love it.
And they had a 10 o'clock appointment and 10:15 came by and they hadn't shown up yet.
Yikes.
10:30 came by and I started to feel really, really, really deflated.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, at about 20 of 11, they came in.
Oh my goodness.
And I said, how can I help you? And he's looking down, not making eye contact whatsoever. And he goes, the only known source of income I've ever had has just dissipated, and I don't know what to do. And I thought, darn it, this is not what I was hoping for. And then I noticed that she's playing with her ring, and her ring, the stone is on the palm side of her hand. And I asked her about the ring because I didn't want to talk about him not having any income. And she said, well, yeah, I just got it. And I said, where did you get it? And she said, Hurdle's Jewelry, which was right around the corner from my office. I said, when did you get this? I don't know much about jewelry, but this was a rock. She goes, well, that's why we were late.
Oh my gosh. I thought that's what you were going to say. Oh my gosh. So a rock.
And I said,
Okay.
wait a minute, you don't have any income and you probably spent $25,000 on this ring?
Right.
She said, no, 60,000.
Holy cannoli.
And I looked at him and I looked at her and I looked at him and I said, you know, there's a missing piece here.
Yeah.
Can you fill me in? And he goes, oh, I know. I've lived off of my trust income all my life. And I turned 35 last week and my trust terminated. And now I have $18 million I don't know what to do with. He was so clear that what he was an income stream from a trust. And now everything changed. Wow. And he was ill prepared. Mm-hmm. And then she burst into tears. She said, how can I go home and show my father this ring? He can't even make his mortgage payment. Wow. And I thought, ooh, there are some things that go hand in hand with inherited wealth that they didn't teach us at the College for Financial Planning.
Seriously, right? Oh my gosh. Wow.
And that was the incident that begot the specialty, and it's been thriving ever since.
That's incredible. Wow. Okay. Wow. So two things are coming to me from that story. One is the amount of money doesn't matter. It's whether or not you feel comfortable managing it, right? And you feel like you're smart enough to manage it.
The amount of money doesn't matter. It's the impact it has on your life. So it could be $100 to a homeless person.
That's right.
Or $1,000 to a recent high school graduate.
Right.
If it impacts their standard of living, it's a lot.
Wow. I'm sorry, I'm really stunned by this, but that's really what I'm taking from that story is the amount is invisible, right? It's the behaviors, the self-talk, and the mindset around it of like 18 million, I'm going to starve, right? Like my dad can't pay his mortgage. I'm wearing his annual mortgage on my hand, right? Like it's like, but the amount doesn't really matter. It's the experience of that. That's so important for all of us humans. Doesn't matter. And this is where we all, like, I'm one of those coaches who's always saying, you're going to watch the amount in the bank change. You're still the same person. You're just going to have to learn how to deal with it. That's all that changes, right? It doesn't change you, right? That's it.
There you go.
But the other thing for you, Myra, that I'm hearing is that was brilliant in that moment. So you thought, I'm going to be a financial planner. They taught me how to do this. I got the blue suit. I rented the conference room. Oh my gosh, right? And bam, you saw a need in the market that no one had ever talked about, and you made it your expertise. And I have to say, that is one smart business mind. Like that is what I really hope somebody's listening right now. And they're like, oh my God, that just happened to somebody on the phone with me the other day. That could be my expertise. That is how
you framed this to apply to anyone in business. That's brilliant. And that just shows you're a great coach.
Oh, you're so nice.
No, I'm not nice. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. But but is that not what you did though? Like that, I think that is, God, no wonder you're excelling, because when we see something like that, we see somebody who needs a problem solved we help them solve the problem. And if you can do that well, you'll always be great in business. And I think you really just highlighted that. But I'm also really impressed with you as a human to be able to have compassion for that person in that moment. Because I know for some people, like we were talking about stereotypes for the truly wealthy, right? They'd be like, this freaking guy. You know what I mean? As opposed to seeing something's happening here that's actually really important in their lives, and we need to help them with this. And I think that speaks to your character as well. So people looking to work with you, I can get why people really want to work with you, because that's trust. Because I could imagine, as much as somebody's embarrassed about being poor and these guys are embarrassed about being rich, they have nowhere to go, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone's like, F you, you're rich, deal with it. I have no sympathy for you. Like, you could really see how that could be a reaction. And I bet it's really helpful for them to be able to come to you. Yeah.
I would think so because they do and they stay, and we help them develop through their stages of inherited wealth. And we've seen this over and over that inheritors experience a similar stage progression through their relationship with their money. And I'm happy to tell you what those are if you're
Yeah.
interested.
I'd love to know. I'm absolutely curious what those are.
Okay, so we're all born, no matter what our financial circumstances, we're all born in an innocent stage where we get everything we need, whether it's mother's milk or a clean diaper or whatever. Most of us have to get out of that innocent stage the first time we're told no. No, you can't get a new tricycle. You have to have your brother's hand-me-down. Or no, we can't afford the Coke. You have to have water when we go out to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of no's. Whereas an inheritor, someone who comes from a family of wealth, it's oftentimes much easier to write the check than to tell your child no.
Oh, I just got chills. Yes, I get that. Oh, I get that.
They can stay in an innocent stage for years.
Oh my gosh. I never thought of that. Wow.
And after the innocent stage is the denial stage. Oh, let's pretend I don't have money. No one, people will dislike me for who I am rather than because I have money. Or how do I say no when someone finds out they have money and they want to get a loan or marry me or whatever. So denial is the next stage. And finally, the third stage is ignorant acceptance. And
Mm.
when someone gets to the ignorant acceptance stage, that's the stage at which we can start to help them. We can say, okay, you accept that these are your financial circumstances. We get it that you're ignorant here. But that doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you have no training. You haven't gotten the manual. You don't know. How could you possibly?
Right.
And then they get into the learning growing stage. And that's really exciting and time consuming and confusing and overwhelming, but they do it
Mm.
until they get to the final stage, which is the integrated authority, where they understand, they know what they do know, they know what they don't know, they know what they like to manage, what they don't like to manage, and they have the financial wherewithal to delegate those areas that don't bring them joy.
To people they trust, hopefully.
Of
Right.
course, because they've gone through the learning growing stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And say that last phrase, the last phase again. It's
Stage is the integrated authority.
integrate. I
And
love that. Integrated authority. That's a beautiful stage.
that's also a stage where they don't care what other people think.
Mm.
And boy, is that an empowering stage to be in.
For anybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're all working on that, aren't we?
I mean, hello. Yeah. Can I call someone and get that handled? Like, yeah, like that's a big deal. That's why I think when you said the name of that step, I was like, hold on. Would say it again. Because you can hear integrative authority when you actually integrate into the truth of your own life. You become authority of your own life, regardless of what the money says. Boy, is that important, because I think, and it's so interesting as you're talking, I'm thinking about all the times I've spoken to women who've never managed money or they've never dealt with it. And like, why would you know how if you never have?
Right.
Right. And that moment of acceptance, you said the innocent acceptance is when you can start working with somebody. And I think that moment is so important, again, on either side of the freaking spectrum. If you need to actually admit you don't have any and stop spending like you do, just like you need to admit you don't know how to handle what you already have. Oh my, that's the only time that change is actually possible. Your authority as a human being over your own life. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. I love this so much. Like, wow, what great work you're doing. My
Thank
goodness.
you.
What
Thank
do
you.
you notice people feel right as they've stepped into this integrative authority, right? They're like moving through this. What do you notice they start to feel as they feel more powerful about themselves? What do they start doing with their money? Do things really change? Do most people keep it the same? Like, what do you notice as far as habit changes?
They start thinking outside the box.
Okay.
They start thinking in a way that maybe deviates from what their family thought patterns are. And oftentimes they're inheritors from, they're only second or third generation from the wealth creator. And the wealth creator's mindset is completely different than an inheritor's, where a wealth creator, they're future focused. I mean, they're always all entrepreneurs are future focused and they're abundance oriented. They
Mm-hmm.
think, oh, I can't miss on this. And they're they're socially respected
Mm. Mm.
and they're confident. But an inheritor, they're legacy based and scarcity oriented. Like if they lose it, they can't make it again.
Right.
And they have a fear of loss. And then
Mm.
they are met with people all the time who have a hostile envy towards them.
Okay, I want to dive into this word. Say,
So
like, let's really
yeah.
expand on that. What is hostile envy?
So where someone is pissed off and envious at the same time that they aren't in that position. How come it's so easy for them? I didn't have that kind of luck. And
Mm-hmm.
people have really strong opinions about those who have inherited a great deal of money.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is that an inheritor is oftentimes embarrassed and ashamed that
Mm.
they didn't earn the money themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I could see
And
that.
this,
I could get that. I think I'd feel that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And how to manage money is very different. The
Right.
wealth creator is accumulation oriented and works with financial advisors who went to school at that,
Mm-hmm.
whereas an inheritor is totally needs to preserve what's been given and know what can they spend, what can they give away, what can they loan, what can they need to have that sense of perspective and to be aligned with their investment managers so that their investment managers don't necessarily do what the wealth creator did, but are aligned with the inheritor's values
Got it.
and objectives.
And I can also see as you're describing that experience of being alive, right? Because that's what that is. I inherited this money. The scarcity is real because
Yeah,
that underlying fear of like, if I lose this, I'm like the mess up of the family. If I lose this or I overspend or oh my gosh, I'm the jerk who did that. So I could absolutely see that fear seeping in. But then also the scarcity mindset of like, I don't know how to create it. And so I can't get it back. And I deal with this a lot with entrepreneurs. They have a bad year. They're like, I'm not worried. I'll do it again.
right.
Right. I always
Exactly.
point to Taylor Swift, right? Where she got bombed at the Grammys right before she started hitting really big. She's like, I just got to make a better album. I'll do it again. Right. That there's that tenacity to then get up and do it again. And they didn't have to do that. Right. So it's this fear of like, could I? I don't know. I didn't have to. I don't know. And I could really see like when you said that, that really hit a chord with me because that's got to be very scary.
Yeah.
It's got to be really scary for them. I can really understand that.
So
Yeah.
making decisions can be really, really hard because
Hmm.
they don't want to make a bad one.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think this is a really important conversation to be having for people who aren't heirs as much as it is for people who are, right?
Yeah.
For us to really see our shared humanity in all circumstances, right? We're all here
Thank
having
you.
this human experience, terrified of what we don't know how to do or mad, mad scared that we're going to screw it up, right? Terrified we're not going to fit in. People are going to find out the truth about us, right? It's so universal. And I think it's such an important conversation to have, especially at a time, at least here in the States, when we're really having a let them eat cake moment, right? It's kind of like, wow, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the truth of this on all sides of the spectrum. It's so powerful. And I just love the work that you're doing. I really do.
Thank
So
you.
great. So great. All right. I have one more question for you. And I think you've
Okay.
sort of covered it, but I want to make sure it's clear, at least in my mind and probably in all the listeners' mind. You talk about how heirs have almost like a grief period or a mourning period. Is
Oh,
this
yeah.
part of their stages? Is it that
No,
beginning
it's
stages or is it
actually a little
different?
different.
Okay.
Where when someone inherits money, and we can go back to the ring story, when his trust terminated and he received a lot of money, he had to mourn the loss of his life as he had known it
Mm,
up until that time
hmm
before he could move on.
hmm
He had to recognize it and go through that mourning process. And most people don't think that that would exist for them. They think, oh, $18 million, woohoo, I'm
Yeah. For
there.
you. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's just, they don't give themselves permission
Mm,
to mourn the loss of their life as they had known it up until that point.
hmm
And it's a
hmm
big change.
And yeah, and I would assume they even feel guilty for mourning that loss, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Yeah.
and I
Right.
think, yeah,
There's
but I
not much support for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, think that's another universal one, right? Like we're not allowed, like, so many of my clients, if they end up getting divorced, right? They're like, but I'm so happy to be divorced. Why do I feel sad? It's like you're still mourning a change in your life,
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
that's still a mourning. And I've also seen it with people who their businesses explode and take off. They mourn what it was like before, even though they're happy, they mourn what it was like before. And I think that's again, back to the universal human experience. I think that's very normal. And it's so great that you're pausing people to go, hold on, you have a right in your life, wherever you are, right? I always think of Oprah talking about coming back from Africa, building schools. She's like, yeah, I'm getting 2 kitchens redesigned or whatever she is. She's like, it's still my life at this, wherever my life is, I have the right to say, this part is making me sad. This part's really hard for me. I'm really grateful for this. And this part's really hard. And I think everybody needs to recognize we're all going to go through that at some point. Like, I don't have the right to be sad. I'm white. I'm pretty much well. Yes, that's true. And you still have stuff you've got to deal with, or you're going to go out there and be a jackwagon, right? Like we got to deal with this stuff and
That's
actually
another
process
thing
it.
I wanted when you said
Yeah.
jackwagon. Inheritors have real amplified personalities.
hmm
In other words, the money enables them to really amplify what's basically there. If they tend to be a philanthropist, they can be a great philanthropist.
Right.
If they tend to be an entrepreneur, they can be a great entrepreneur. And if they tend to be hypochondriacs, they can be great hypochondriacs. I mean,
Right.
they can indulge. And so you get real amplified personalities and real amplified skills. We worked with 3 Olympiads, had a gift.
hmm
They loved it. They could afford tutors in tow and coaches and traveling the world and everything to do, to perform in their sport. So that's another example of an amplified personality, an
I got that.
amplified skill.
I love that you said that, Myra, because I call money a magnifying glass. So if you're a jackwagon, you could be a bigger one. And we know some
Exactly.
of those, right? And if you're
Yes.
incredible, you can be even more amazing, right? And I think it's important to remember that it's not us, but it can magnify us, but it is not us. And to have
Exactly.
that sort of understanding of money, I think is so important. Wow. Well, I could talk to you, I think, for a long time about this. But if someone is listening today and they know someone who might be in this situation or they themselves are in this situation, how can people get a hold of you? How can people find you?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yes, the company name is The Wealth Conservancy, and my name is Myra Salzer. It's pretty unusual, so if you can, Google both, you'll probably find us. We also have a coaching program for heirs that is only 8 sessions that will enable someone to understand what their relationship is with wealth. And it's called Way Into Wealth. And you can find out more about that at wayintowealth.com.
Love it.
And I think that's what, they can do.
I love it.
Please
All
do find
right.
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you guys, if you are watching on YouTube, we are going to have those links underneath this video. If you are listening in, the links will be in the show notes. Myra, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I really appreciate this in conversation. I think it's something that's so important for us to all be talking about and understanding our shared humanity.
Thank you. This was really fun. I appreciate it.